In at 10, Scrap Bonnie. Ah, Bonnie, the scariest animatronic to some, even Scott Cawthon, who would have nightmares about you. But this is probably why he didn't make you a scrap animatronic, yet here we are with the fan base once again, showcasing that their only desire is to watch the world burn and laugh while we all go up in flames, but then miraculously not die somehow, only for it to be explained years later in a random book that a load of hardcore game purists claim isn't canon. However, Scrap Bonnie is definitely worthy of making this list because, like, look at it. I love rabbits, they're freaking adorable, but zombie rabbits always creeped me out for some reason, and this reminds me of a zombie rabbit. The exposed endoskeleton, the random weird claw-like thing they got going on. It's like if Scrap Baby was reassembling herself, and then Elizabeth was like, no, I want to possess Bonnie! And then she remade herself as Bonnie. Honestly, I'm surprised Scott didn't pull something like that at this point. With like this just the simple explanation of Elizabeth liked Bonnie, and then that's it. That's the only thing we get. Damn, maybe that's the scariest thing of all. In at 9, Scrap Nightmare Bonnie. What's that? 2 Bonnie animatronics in a row on a list not about Bonnie? Yes! But mostly because I was scrolling through Google Images and these two caught my eye first. Scrap Nightmare Bonnie is scary for all the reasons I listed above, and then you just add Nightmare to it. Although I guess that doesn't really make for a compelling number, and I should talk about it more. The concept of the Nightmare animatronics is certainly freaky, but the fact that they aren't real kind of like soothes me, you know? Like, sure, none of these animatronics are real, but even in their universe, the Nightmare animatronics aren't real and can't really hurt you. But with the implication of the scrapped nature of this version, it seems to suggest against that idea, and I think that makes it freakier. But also the potential that the arm at the end of that one security breach trailer that was never referenced again, by the way, Steel Wool, looks like Nightmare Freddy's arm, and it only adds to the idea that they're not going to be fake for very long. Like, they're going to be real animatronics very soon, and I don't like that. If that ends up being the thing, if they make the Nightmare animatronics actual animatronics in Security Breach, this channel is done with FNAF. Straight up. And at 8, Scrap Baby Endo. Scrap Baby is already the freakiest of all the scrap animatronics, or at least the canon scrap animatronics, but never did I think about what her endoskeleton would look like, because let's be honest, that's kind of freaky. I mean, her name is literally Baby. I don't want to talk about her endoskeleton, that'll put me on like some kind of watch list. However, this goddamn Scrap Baby Endo concept is horrifying. Why does it have boobs? It's an endoskeleton! You don't actually have to give it boobs! Why did Baby even reassemble herself? In that way is my question. Is it because she like needs to be able to pass as a human like she does in the Fourth Closet novel? Like seriously, this has been something that has always bugged me because like why? Why did Scrap Baby reassemble themselves with a chest? And then like why are people including this as a part of her endoskeleton? This hurts me on like a deep level. I don't want to think about it anymore. Let's move on. And at 7, Scrap Glitch Trap. You can fight me all you want about my opinions on Springtrap and the fact that he's not an animatronic because he's just a dude in the suit. But there's no way you can fight me on the fact that Glitch Trap isn't an animatronic. Firstly, he's just game code with no real world equivalent aside from William Afton. Secondly, he's literally just a suit. You can tell by the fabric. The different design to the Bonnie we know and the stitching around his joints and, you know, it's a suit. But this version of Glitch Trap, known as Scrap Glitch Trap, is designed to be an animatronic, therefore it counts for this list. This thing is fucking horrifying. I've always had a soft spot for Glitch Trap, okay? I hate this thing because, like, you know, it gives me creepy bear vibes, if you know what I mean. You know, if you look at old memes, you'll know. It's an old meme, but it checks out. It's a specific bear that may have candy in his white windowless van. Anyway, I hate this kind of thing. And the way that Glitch Trap just like stands there and waves and then slowly gets closer to you, who's playing a child in the game, doesn't sit right with me. Hence why I avoid picking up tapes, because I don't like him. Now, with all that said, this version is still worse. The actual scrap appearance, along with like the desaturation of the costume and the exposed endoskeleton and all the wires, it's too much for me. I can't do it. I'm done. And it's 6, Scrap Puppet. I don't know why, but like every version of the puppet intended to be scary gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like the Reaper puppet, which I talk about in multiple FNAF videos and is honestly the epitome of horrifying for me, is the Reaper puppet. And then there's like the Havoc puppet of the Dramidibus series, and now we have Scrap Puppet. This was only a concept and fan art, but it doesn't actually appear in any of the games, but it's still creepy, okay? It doesn't have to appear in a game. This is fan animatronics for a reason. Doesn't appear in game, and I don't think that there's a mod for it either if you watch that video. Although that is a good idea. You should make a mod for this. There should just be a FNAF game that's all puppets. Anyway, while some people may not be able to make a game for their creations, you can make a mod, or you can like make a model for it in Source Filmmaker, and then let people use it for mods. Anyways, this particular image that I found just looks like the beginning of a Scrap Puppet jump scare, as if you were salvaging them in FNAF 6. And obviously it's not actually in the game because the puppet was captured by Lefty, but still, this just, it puts me on edge. And then it has like all like the little tentacle things coming off of it and like a creepy smile. Like I don't know, it puts me on edge, or it's edging me because of those tentacles. Is that too far? I mean, Food Wars said it, so like, can I make the joke? Halfway through into number 5, Scrap Funtime Freddy. Funtime Freddy is a particularly interesting animatronic, looking like he just came back from filming a video with James Charles. Does he even make videos anymore? I don't know, nor do I really care. Funtime Freddy is creepy simply because he's like the most put together version of Freddy there is, ignoring Toy Freddy. Especially with the recent revelation, thanks to the Faz Facts from FNAF AR, that revealed that the Funtime animatronics, despite being introduced in the 5th game, were among some of the first animatronics that Afton built, which I think was meant to serve as a way to show that he always had murderous intentions, but still. Take the creep factor you get from Funtime Freddy, then add on to it the scrap adjective, and boom, you got yourself some good nightmare fuel. But like, not like this would be in your nightmares, like rather I think it would just provoke some nightmares, but it is certainly not for the faint of heart. And at 4, Nightmare Scrap Baby. Really? You just had to take probably the freakiest bitch of the bunch and turn her into a Nightmare Scrap version. What the living hell, man. Okay, I'll admit that this should be higher on the list, so actually, you know what, I'll move it. Okay, there we go, it's at number 4 now. Like, it was originally at number 8, but then I switched it with Scrap Baby's Endo specifically so that I could say that I already said that Scrap Baby is the scariest of the Scrap animatronics. Yes, this was a bit. And turning them into a nightmare version that wants to eat my soul is too much, okay? Amanda and I are the only ones who are supposed to do the whole soul eating thing. But Nightmare Scrap Baby looks like she wants to eat my firstborn child. Like, do you understand how absolutely terrifying this thing is? Some of them even look like Pennywise after they're old and gray and been doing too much no snow. Pennywise would be scared of Nightmare Scrap Baby. Afton would disown Elizabeth as his daughter for this. This is literally the stuff of nightmares, which I guess was the point. So, good job, guys. You got me to freak. Congratulations. Getting close to the end, in at number 3, Scrap Orville. I found this Scrap Orville through a mod that replaced Orville, I'm assuming, with the Scrap Orville version. Orville Elephant isn't a particularly scary character, and that remains the same for the rest of the mediocre melodies. However, this Scrap Orville mod, made using a model by DeviantArt user Holupaxum, based on a design of Reddit user u/fandomtrash198787, is honestly terrifying. Scrapping animatronics always makes them scarier, and with the lore implications that the original Orville gave with his deathlines and Ultimate Custom Night, I can only imagine what a Scrap Orville will add, and I've stated it time and time again, the lore is the scariest thing in the series to me. And the sheer lore implications of not only a Scrap Orville, but all these fan-made Scrap animatronics is actually haunting how terrifying it is. If you've ever tried to explain anything in this series in at least somewhat of a reasonable way and not a whole Sans' phone guy kind of way, you'll understand my struggle and you'll relate to me on this. But ultimately, in at number 2, Scrap Trap Endo. Scrap Trap is already a creepy animatronic, somehow changing from a small, realistically sized head in Springtrap to a giant, weird alien head in FNAF 6. Scrap Trap is definitely one of the most interesting Afton looks. It looks like he's going to Coachella and trying on a load of outfits. However, this man needs to keep as much clothing on as possible because this version of Scrap Trap's endoskeleton, or what it would look like, is absolutely horrific. And yes, that's what I meant by clothes, not because Afton is a walking mass of exposed muscle and absolutely unsightly in the most horrendous ways. No, it's because his endoskeleton for the Springtrap animatronic is freaky. Like, why does his head have to be that shape? It's an animatronic, not a freaking pop figure. Springtrap needs a pop figure, though. I will definitely buy that. So, Funko, do it. Still, either way, Springtrap endoskeleton is literally one of my worst nightmares. And finally, in at number 1, Scrap Glamrocks. With Security Breach on the horizon, releasing in actually a month as this video is going out, I believe, we still had to include the group of animatronics as scrap versions on this list. And honestly, it's pretty accurate considering how Chica in that promotional image and the recent trailer seems to be pretty scrapped already. They wouldn't really have to do much there to have that really work out. However, the versions that I've actually seen are scarily horrific in a way that makes me concerned if they'll be in the real game. I don't think these would be in the game, but based on that old theory that I had about how these characters are acting like zombies, this makes me feel like that theory is a little too right. These animatronics being made into scrap animatronics are honestly some of the weirdest custom scrap versions I've seen, and that makes them the scariest. I tried to stay away from anything newer, or I guess that I had covered in previous alternate fan version videos, but holy crap, these scrap rocks, as I want to call them, are absolutely haunting. This is what the Halloween update for this game should be. These are actually perfect, so thank you.
Number 10, Shadow Withered Chica. All of the Withered animatronics are just horrific. So what happens when you combine them with the Shadow animatronics? You get gloriously terrifying creations like Shadowed Withered Chica. Withered Chica is already really creepy due to the fact that she is missing both of her hands and really only has wire left in place of them. Her bright yellow coloring usually helps to offset this creepy detail when it comes to her appearance, but the Shadow version of her gets no such counterbalance, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depending on your opinion. Her dislocated jaw is also highlighted even more here by the fact that she's in shadow, with her bib becoming a disturbing beacon in the darkness. The only thing you can see looming when she comes towards you, you're like, ah, her bib! Never thought I'd be so scared of a bib. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want even more FNAF lists, you know we want to give them to you, so be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. Number 9, Shadow Sprite. Shadow Sprite appears to be a completely original animatronic design. Sprite is described as a mammal and a carnivoran. Carnivoran meaning likely that Sprite is an eater of meat or flesh, so a carnivore. Carnivoran's kind of just another word for carnivore, I believe. So you definitely would want to watch out with this animatronic, as it won't just store you somewhere, it'll likely ingest you and potentially ingest your soul as well, who knows. Maybe this is the only animatronic who doesn't really gain remnant from killing people and can't really extract that, storing the soul, but instead completely devours its prey. Sprite appears to have 2 large arms that are wing-like save for the fingers on the ends of them. It has feet like a dog and giant ears that are almost bunny or dog-like in appearance. Kinda reminds me of those floppy bunny ears. Number 8, Crazed Shadow Puppet. So there are actually a whole series of these shadow animatronics and I love them. I love these little crazed animatronics, their expressions are great. For some reason they really remind me of Bendy and the Ink Machine. Maybe it's that wash of insanity, or maybe it's all the dripping inky-like look of their faces. But yes, it's definitely giving me Bendy vibes. Crazed Shadow Puppet is probably my favorite of them all, as we can also see that not only is there something very disturbed about this grinning, wide-eyed expression, but you can also see upon close inspection that the puppet faceplate here is cracked as well, which also feels somewhat symbolic to me. Having a face with a crack in it while also seemingly losing your mind? I mean, it's like your mind has a crack in it, you know what I mean? Number 7, Shadow Mangle. As much as I thought Shadow Mangle would be terrifying, and well, it is, I'm actually not finding this to be one of the most scary on our list, but it's still pretty scary. Shadow Mangle, even in one iteration, is pictured as being fully whole, although even then we kinda get some Cthulhu-like vibes from this animatronic. The version of Mangle is pictured as being fully together with a big bushy tail and furry fox face and ears. Its teeth and eyes glow a bright white and it sports a little bow tie, but while that all sounds not too bad in terms of scare factor, behind it, in shadow, loom a series of tentacles, if you will, obviously meant to be the pieces and bits that couldn't quite fit back together. anything that is like tentacles looming behind it, I'm like, no, not gonna do that. That doesn't seem like a good idea. Number 6, Shadow Chica. Oddly enough, Chica is one of the few main cast at Freddy's who doesn't really seem to have too much of her own shadow version. We don't really know why this is, but just because Chica has a lot of weird love coming her way doesn't mean that she doesn't deserve to also have a super scary and mysterious alternate shadow version. Fans of course have looked to rectify this by giving her one. Granted, you have to be careful where you share said fan-made animatronics online in terms of communities, as some have attempted to do so in canon-based wikis where it's considered a major no-no. So yeah, but they're still out there. I like that they also still exist on those wikis. They've just been like, you can't do this here, but we're not gonna like delete it, we're just gonna like move it around. Shadow Chica is typically depicted as being less rounded than our FNAF 1 counterparts and a little bit more curvy instead. Why is Chica always drawn curvy, even with FNAF 1? I don't know. Her eyes, teeth, and the eyes of her cupcake stand out, glowing a bright white. So many curvy Chicas. I can't. Even when it's not Toy Chica, people are like, let's give her a waist. I'm like, she's like a chicken. I feel like, I don't know. You can be either way, really. I'm not trying to body shame Chica here, just FYI, just to be clear. I just think it's interesting the way that people choose to draw her. Number 5, Shadow Springtrap. Not sure if it makes sense to have a Shadow Springtrap, considering that Springtrap, when he first shows up, is still alive, or alive in the sense of being a shambling corpse that can still move and think, I presume, but he was trapped within a Spring Bonnie suit. I guess as alive as Springtrap gets. The shadow animatronics are typically all kinda ghost-like or glitch-like in terms of their appearance and what they stand for. I mean, they're kind of mysterious actually. We don't really know a lot about shadow animatronics. I think we had a whole video about shadow animatronics and like, what are they really? In my opinion, they're kind of like mirrorverse versions of almost all the animatronics we know, love, and fear, like their other half. It feels weird to have this for some reason for an animatronic who is also a person, but just because it's somewhat unconventional, it doesn't mean that fans can't imagine what a shadow Springtrap would look like. And the answer is, of course, terrifying, because Springtrap's already terrifying, so you shadow it, still scary. Number 4, Shadow Toy Foxy. Shadow Toy Foxy is a very different looking shadow type animatronic. Instead of being quite as dark with pinprick white eyes like other shadow animatronics, this version is a bold purple that is somewhat see-through, revealing their endoskeleton through their somewhat translucent purple outer exosuit. Kinda reminds me of those old Macs people had in the early 2000s where they had like colorful plastic on the back that you could see all the inner workings and the motherboard through. I might be aging myself here, but that is a thing. I remember those Macs. I don't think I ever owned one though, sadly. Of course, this could also just be an artistic rendition of what would be a much more shadowy animatronic should it appear in game, because, you know, this is a drawing. Shadow Toy Foxy not only looks scary, but also manages to look refined as well, keeping their bow tie, lipstick, and bright cheeks. Number 3, Nightmare Shadow Bonnie. Nightmare animatronics are already terrifying enough. We don't need to give them anything else to make them even more scary, do we? But that is just what this fan-made version does, so I guess maybe we do. Nightmare Shadow Bonnie is a version of the Nightmare Bonnie animatronic, one that happens to be more shrouded in darkness due to its shadow-like inky black coloring. However, even in shadow, this animatronic still gives us some detail so we can see how tattered it is. For some reason, I also find its expression, face shape, and its teeth to be even more horrifying than the standard Nightmare Bonnie animatronic version. So maybe we do need Shadow Nightmare animatronics, like a whole series of them. They'd be really scary. Number 2, Shadow Toy Chica. Shadow Toy Chica is maybe the most horrifying of all of the fan-made shadow animatronics, because of how hot everyone is still obsessed with making her. Once again, this is Toy Chica, so Shadow Toy Chica is not removed from that. We're still making her like a weirdly sexy animatronic. Well, yeah, like I said, she is a version of Toy Chica. Shadow Toy Chica is typically depicted as having a big, jagged grin and an X on her chest, both of which, along with her pupils, glow a bright white. Sometimes she can also be seen carrying her cupcake, which glows a bright white or neon blue. Shadow Toy Chica also has her own Twitter profile that someone made for her under the username Shadow Thought Chica. I think that says it all when it comes to just how scary this fan-made shadow animatronic is. Number 1, Nightmare Shadow Mangle. I thought thought that Shadow Toy Chica would be the most scary in principle, and then Nightmare Shadow Mangle came along. Mangle is already a horrifying animatronic, so this really just adds a layer to that. Nightmare Shadow Mangle is a lot more intimidating, considering that it's really hard to see. Mainly what we can see of this animatronic is its bright white glowing teeth and its eyes, and the eyes that belong to its Endo puppet parrot. Yikes! This version of Mangle would be hard to spot if you face it in person, and when you likely did end up noticing it, it would probably be way too late. It would be like, I got you, and you'd be like, ugh, dead.
And at 10, Funtime Chica. Now before you go off on me for talking about Funtime Chica, before FNAF 6 there was no Funtime Chica, so any form of this character was actually fan-made. Like this fan-made teaser from Hero Golem on DeviantArt. The lack of beak already makes this version unsettling, but add in the Funtime's ability to move their faces at will, and you have some genuine nightmare fuel, and probably the least scary animatronic. And by that I mean scary in like a typical sense. Not to mention the different nightmare Funtime Chicas that I saw looking up Funtime Chica fan made. It was a lot, and this is really something that I need to be careful of, because when I searched Funtime Chica fan art instead, I got an entirely different art genre than I was looking for. Like, come on Google, save that for my phone late at night when nobody's watching. And at 9, Nightmare Toy Chica. Nightmare Toy Chica is honestly what you'd expect from a nightmare version of your favorite chicken robot. All the glory of Toy Chica with the horror of a nightmare, the countless sharp teeth, stomach, mouth, torn body, even though they're toy and plastic, so it doesn't really make sense, exposed endoskeleton, the works. And those without a beak are even worse than you'd expect. You'd expect that without the beak there would be less teeth, but no, in fact they have the same amount. And they're ready to bite your head off. If anyone was going to have caused the bite of 87, it would be Nightmare Toy Chica, and not just because of Toy Chica's Ultimate Custom Night Deathline, although that is a whole other can of worms for another day. And at 8, Twisted Toy Chica. Twisted Toy Chica is basically, if I had to describe it, which I do given that I chose this list and then put this on the list, would be Nightmare Toy Chica cranked up to an 11 and then squared. These things are horrific and they're all different in some way. One has boils all over with the classic nightmare aesthetic, one is covered in what looks like egg sacs, one has additional Toy Chicas and cupcakes coming out of their arms and back, and one is a combination of Toy Chica, Toy Bonnie, and Toy Freddy, and is one of the most unholy abominations that I've seen. This looks like it belongs in a Dormitibus game or alongside the creation and joy of creation. While the variety is incredible and the fact that each one is different is rare to say the least, they all end up being scary, but others are even scarier. Like in at number 7, Monster Chica. The Monster Chica animatronic, like Monster Freddy from the alternate fan versions of Freddy list, is a simple edit of the Monster Rat animatronic from the Five Nights at Candy series, which technically, if you consider the Fazbear Fanverse initiative, is still actually kinda canon, but it's still fan-made and therefore belongs on this list. The edit mostly consists of making the character yellow, adding a cupcake, and then changing the snout to a beak, but this is still terrifying to say the least. And not to mention the bolts coming out of its body looking like spikes, it's horrifying. If the FNAF animatronics are my sleep paralysis demons, this one is taking the shift tonight. Like, it's freaking horrific. And there are some that look like Havoc Monster Chica, like Havoc Chica from Dormitibus combined with a monster version. And don't worry, you'll see Havoc very soon. But like, how is this a thing? Why is this my life? I give myself nightmares for a living. Thank God for Canada's free healthcare, otherwise my multiple heart attacks from seeing these things would cost me literally my heart otherwise. Like, I would have to sell my organs. And I'm not Shrimply Pibbles, I can't just have a dong be my heart. That was for you Rick and Morty fans out there. Season 5! And at 6, Nsfw Chica. Yes, now it's nighttime on my phone when nobody's watching. And while we're just showing tame or normal Chica for this number, the amount of not safe for work chickens I've seen would even make Colonel Sanders shake with fear. It's scary to me how accurate Rule 34 is, if I'm being 100% honest. No matter what, if it is on the internet, there is some form of NSFW version for you to find. And that's pretty nasty, especially given that these are animatronic animals with the souls of dead kids possessing them. I think that I'm gonna side with PETA this one time and this one time only. If they made an adult video site that was Chica themed and filled it with animal cruelty videos instead, at that point I would understand, because it's basically the same thing as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not kidding, that's actually a thing they did. I mean, like, it wasn't Chica themed, but I'm sure you get the idea. The Chica Not Safe for Work art is scary enough, okay? Look, if you're wondering why it's on this list, then you know why it's on the list. Halfway through into number 5, Scrap Toy Chica. As a proud member of the Toy Chica Bucket Club, seeing my girl scrapped really breaks my heart. The various versions of Scrap Toy Chica always put me on edge just because of the amount of exposed endoskeleton. These are damn creepy. No matter what, whether it be slightly destroyed, very destroyed, or hell, even the withered Scrap Chica, it doesn't make me happy to look at it. I mean, this video was already going to make my history questionable to say the least, but this just makes me sad. There isn't really much else to say. It's Scrap Toy Chica, it's what you'd expect. Picture the Glamrock Chica teaser image with her destroyed, but it's Toy Chica, and then boom, you got Scrap Toy Chica. And at 4, Human Withered Chica. There are no words for how this makes me feel. Look, I know I joke about Chica all the time and wanting to be with her, etc. Like, I even did the entire top 10 tastiest FNAF animatronics list specifically so I could make a joke that Toy Chica was the tastiest animatronic. If you haven't seen that video though, I highly suggest you watch it. I love that video, it's so funny. Nevertheless, this is wrong. Chica as a human is already a scary concept. Add to that the withered version with veins coming out of the arms instead of wires and a blood-stained dress. Emil Ines, however you say your name, I applaud you for your skill, but condemn you to the depths of hell for creating this and causing me to be so confused about what I should be feeling because of it. Like, what else could I say about this thing without probably getting myself in trouble with either one side of the internet or the other? Like, there's no winning here. I don't know. Why? Getting close to the end into number 3, FNAF Plus Chica. FNAF Plus is a fan recreation of the first FNAF game funded by Scott with the Fazbear Fanverse Initiative, and will presumably be this timeline's version of the Fazbear franchise, since games like Five Nights at Candy's revolve around FNAF's history, and the joy of creation revolves around the game's history. FNAF Plus is meant to be a more intense and scary version of the first game, since a lot of fans complained about how the first one isn't scary anymore. But this version of Chica is messed up and all kinds of wrong. First of all, this version looks more like a little girl, which is going to cause a lot more messed up fan art, but also makes more sense given that she's possessed by the spirit of Susie who died while still as a kid. But the head proportions, and the fact that it comes out like it has baby cheeks messes me up. Along with the fact that the puppet has a tuxedo and uses the candle as a top hat. What the hell? I find that even creepier if I'm being honest. I'm voice cracking, that's how bad this is. If you haven't watched these tapes, I suggest you do, because you'll understand what I'm talking about. It also looks like it would sound southern, you know? Penultimately in at number 2, Sinister Chica. One look at Sinister Chica and you'll understand why they're in the number 2 spot, because they're going to make you number 2 your pants. Hailing from the unfinished fan game Sinister Turmoil universe, Sinister Chica was going to be one of the antagonists of that game. All the Sinister Turmoil animatronics are terrifying, and the fact that they are all terrifying makes them a staple on any of these lists at this point, once I discovered them in the last video. While we may have only gotten Sinister Turmoil sewers and a story demo instead of the full game, this is one of the reasons I'm happy that happened. Sorry developers, I'm not hating on you in any way, but I know for a fact that this would have made me unable to sleep for weeks. After playing FNAF VR, I already have to dive into my blanket after turning off my bedroom light, and it's a good jump, okay? This would just make me collapse. The lights would go off and I'd fall to the floor. The slightest movement of a shadow and my sheets would go from red to brown. All because I don't want them to be red with my blood, okay? I have issues. Talking to my doctor. Not really. Finally, in at number 1, Havoc Chica. Do I even need to explain? Havoc Chica, aka Maria, is a Havoc animatronic that hails from the Dormitivus universe. She is the Havoc version of Chica, obviously, and is a failed attempt by the Havoc puppet to give her spirit a physical form. While having the same color scheme as Chica, the two look nothing alike, aside from a face and beak. The mask Havoc Chica wears has a good amount of damage done to it. Her right eye socket has grown in size, arcing upwards towards her feathers. The rest of her mask has small withering in a few places, mainly near her right eye socket and her forehead. She has no eyes at all, resulting in her being blind. Her jaw isn't directly connected to her head either, like Chica from FNAF 1. Instead, her jaw looks more like her withered counterpart. Her jaw has withering on the sides as well, and some towards the front. Her entire head is attached to a suitless limb segment, making her head stick out and away from her body, like you're seeing it now. It's grotesque and nauseating to look at. And before you ask, no, it's not because I took my meds without having breakfast, although that isn't helping. The bus ride getting here was rough.